Hello friends and welcome back. It's Terry with Terry's Mailbox presenting 4-cut cardstock. Today I'm going to show you the process for making this pop-up vellum window card. So again, lots of different techniques on this one. So I started with the embossing folder from the Craft Your Life Always Sunshine set from Altenew, and I'm going to go ahead and use the watercolor brush markers. Also from Altenew, this is Tropical Fiesta. So I'm using lava rock and fresh green. So again, I kind of wanted to have some gray, smaller leaves in the background. And so what I'm doing is just kind of coloring them in here. And again, these water brush markers are great for detail work and just adding additional colors to your background. So again, I'm just kind of coloring along here, adding the gray in the background, and then I'm going to add that bright green in the front. And this is actually going to be the second panel on my card, so it'll be behind the window. And so I'll show you how I did a pop-up effect. You also could just attach the vellum piece right on top of here, and then you absolutely would see the background in much better detail. So I'm just a coloring away here, adding the gray. I just thought it was kind of fun. So I did all of the smaller leaves in the background in that lava rock. So again, these embossed folders are very easy to watercolor on because they kind of pop up the image and it's very easy to fill them in. So now I'm moving on here to the green color. And again, I'm using the fresh leaf, but I'm using the ink pads because I also pulled a green that's just a little bit darker to do the detail work. So again, you can see how easy and how lovely these things turned out. I'm gonna have to do this more with some more of my especially the floral embossing folders that I do have. So again, just kind of working along here. And you can see I'm putting the base lighter color on first, and then I'll go back with the darker and kind of fill in the leaf veins. So again, remember this panel is going to be trimmed down so that it fits inside of an A2 card. And I love the way that gray, the gray leaves stick up there on the left-hand side from this view, but I think they're really dramatic, and so looking forward to putting this card together. So again, just coloring along, using my water brush. You can see I'm adding in some darker sections there on the veins. Just kind of working along here. So again, I didn't need to do the entire card because, I'm going to trim it down. So now I pulled out the main floral image from the matching stamp set. So again, it's kind of got a flower at the bottom and then it kind of vines up. Really, really like this. So I'm using Altenew Obsidian Black Pigment ink, and I'm stamping that on the vellum. As you can see, I'm going to add some clear embossing powder on top of that. And then I am going to use my Ranger heat tool to melt the embossing powder because I didn't want to burn the vellum, and that's a real risk when you're playing with this vellum. And again, you need a vellum that's light enough that you can actually see that image through. So there you kind of saw what it would look like if I just laid the vellum on top. But again, I'm going to do a pop-up card. So I grabbed a bunch of my Copic markers. So again, kind of using the green for the leaves. And then I've got that, oh gosh, is it a hydrangea color? I think it's kind of a blue hydrangea color that I am going to color the large bloom with. So again, just kind of coloring along here. I'm certainly not an expert with Copics, but again, I like to use them. They are you know, very easy to do. And I've learned a lot through other online classes. So again, like to play with the markers. So again, just kind of filling all those leaves in, and you can see I'm testing my colors up there at the top, because again, this piece is also going to be trimmed down, and I'm going to add a frame to it in the end. So again, we're going to kind of fill in the blue color here. And last but not least, I obviously will add the yellow for the center. So kind of playing with my colors here, looking for some colors that I like. It's so easy to color on vellum. I mean, the alcohol ink on vellum just kind of gives you a translucent look that I really, really like. I think it's very, very pretty. So again, just kind of finishing up coloring. Look how easy that is. Then I'll add the darker color there for the leaves where they are turned up because they're closer to you. And then I'll flick a little bit of the darker color in there. And so here is my final piece with the yellow color on there. And there, as you can see, if I laid it right on top, you'd really see that background. Now, I decided to do the pop-up window, so I don't know, maybe next time I'll just lay it right on top. So again, I'm just gonna take my tonic trimmers and go ahead and trim it down. And I kind of know where I want, or what I want to be in the middle. And so, I'm trying to trim it down, and I'm going to make it just a little bit short of the 4 1/4 because I need a little bit of room. So the next thing I did was I took a full-size sheet of cardstock and I trimmed it. And so it's 6 1/4 by 5 1/2 is what you need in the end. This, I've obviously got the extra on the right-hand side, but again, I'm going to take and I'm going to score it at a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch, and a 1/4 inch. And the 2 1/4 inches are what form the Z for the pop-up. And then I have that 1/2 inch that allows me to attach that to my card base. So I pulled out a rectangle die, and I'm going to cut that out in the center. And I'm pretty good at eyeballing anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that out of the center and pop that out. And so that creates the bottom of my pop-up. And then we'll go ahead and cut out the frame in purple. So sorry, I'm trying to get my my die out of there. And so again, I've got a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of a gold matte type cardstock that again I laid it on there to make sure that my holes were going to line up. And then I went ahead and cut the gold frame. So the next thing I'm doing is I am folding the sides in a Z fold. And then I will go ahead and attach the left-hand side first using red line tape. I like this tape when I've got moving parts because I think it's a little bit more adhesive. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and put it on both sides, but then I'm just going to attach the left side of the A2 card base. Whoa, lots of parts here, huh? So again, I'm going to line that up and then attach that there. And I've got a 1/2 inch to work with here, so that's, it gives me kind of some wiggle room. And there you can see I've folded it up. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach that watercolor embossed panel on the back. And so that's what I'm working on now, just kind of pulling out my ATG glue runner, and we'll go ahead and attach that. So I put that on top of the 1/2 inch side on the left. Now notice I have not attached the right hand side because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that last 1/2 inch piece underneath it and then attach the entire thing together. And then we'll start playing with the, with the piece here. So again, I'm just kind of looking to make sure, just kind of playing with the placement because I've got some wiggle room here since I stamped it kind of in the lower section of that 1/2 sheet of vellum. So again, I've got some wiggle room here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a lever. So as you can see here, I'm lining the top of it up, and then I'll go ahead and put that purple tape on there, and that shows me exactly where I want to place that frame. So again, like I say, I had wiggle room there, and I decided that this is where I wanted it. So again, I'm going to pull out my tape runner and add some more glue tape there. And that lever really works well, as you can see. And then I just kind of folded it over, and voila, I've got my window set the way I want it to. So then obviously I'm going to go ahead and trim the vellum again. Pulling out my Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer. Love this thing, use it all the time. Unless I have to go for something 8.5 or 11 inches, then I have to get out the big dog. But for right now, this one's working just fine. So again, I've got that trimmed. So then here's where I'm going to go ahead and put the front of that card together. So I'm pulling off that section there and then just kind of folding it behind the piece that's there. And we'll go ahead and put it together. And so here I'm just kind of doing some extra trimming. And I decided to get the red line tape out again. Probably could have just used my tape runner, but I decided to go ahead and use the red line tape. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach and cut. Trim it off there a little bit. Oh my gosh, we're almost done with this. I'm so excited. So once I've got this all trimmed off, I'll go ahead and attach that frame on the front. And then I did die cut Here For You from Black Licorice cardstock. So again, using all the different cardstocks from cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure this gets on here straight. And there we have the front of the card, you can see. Or the top of it, I should say. So you can kind of see when it's completely folded down, you can see the background shadow. So then I added the sentiment, and this is my final card here. And again, presenting for Cut Cardstock. Thanks for stopping. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Blogger. Would love to have you come and follow me.